This is now Mimi John, Senior Editor of Building Operating Management Magazine. I had a chance to speak with Mark Sweeney of Generac Power Systems as the Power Trip Experience trailer swung through the Chicago area. Here's a part of my tour where we discussed biofuel generators.
Now our biofuel, we're the only manufacturer to a factory warranty, factory certified a biofuel engine. And if you want, we can kind of look at the biofuel here. So biofuel is basically a standard diesel block.
Okay.
Well, what we do once we get to about 20% of rated load, we start to infuse natural gas into the fuel train. So we infuse that pre-turbo. So by infusing that pre-turbo, we let the turbo do the mixing for us as it comes through the spinning of the turbines. It atomizes the natural gas and air together, and then that follows down through the standard combustion process. So once it atomizes, it actually go into the cylinder and burn. So the unit, like I say, is 100% diesel set. And once we're up to rated parameters, we're looking at approximately 75% natural gas, 25% diesel. The unit cannot run 100% natural gas because we need the diesel for compression ignition and also for lubrication.
Okay.
But it is an on-the-fly changeover. Say, for instance, you were to lose natural gas for any reason, you would switch over back to diesel with barely a blip in RPM.
So let me ask you, is that hybrid quality for redundancy, or what's the advantage of?
Well, that's perfectly led me into that. What that does extend your runtime.
Oh, okay.
So you've now taken this 24-hour tank and extended that into potentially 3 to 4 days. And then also, that's decreased emissions because you're running 75% natural and 25% diesel. But we've looked at that extended runtime, especially in like long duration outages, say Katrina or Sandy, where FEMA dictated where your diesel fuel was going to be going. If you're a hospital, emergency facility, you got the fuel first. If you're a manufacturing, you're lower down the list.
Right.
So by having the ability to extend that runtime, that gave you a little more security, a little more comfort waiting for your diesel to arrive. And we saw it especially in New York, where the people were there with the trucks, but they couldn't get through because lines were down, trees were down, they couldn't get to the locations where they needed to deliver the fuel.
Right.
So extended runtime is really a key feature with that. Extended a little different aspect to that. So many places now are allowing, the HJs are allowing natural gas to be considered a quality fuel source.
Right.
So here in Chicago, I know we've got the 911 call center in Lake County, Indiana. So I think it's Lake County, right on the corner there.
Yeah.
So they're allowing that as considered to be a reliable fuel source.
Right.
A lot of places you can go to the utility and they'll document when was their last outage, show that to the HJ. They'll allow natural gas to be their, an on-site fuel, a reliable fuel source.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a lot of switch in that. If you go out to California, try that. No way with the seismic requirements.
Right.
But that's a local thing. We see and actually kind of a trend we talked about. We've seen natural gas on the rise.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I say, everybody, when was the last time we lost natural gas? The only time you'd potentially have an outage would be, say, if the transmission line was, penetrated in some way.
Right, because they're all underground, so they're a little bit more secure than others.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So natural gas, we see, talking about trends, as a real trend, an upward swing for power generation fuel.
Mm-hmm.
It's reliable, it's clean, consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about the biofuel, also talked about the diesel fuel. When the EPA has gone to its latest regulations, Tier 3 and Tier 4, they've also changed the diesel fuel. It's now what we call ultra-low sulfur, so 15 parts per million. Old number 2 diesel used to have a lot of sulfur in it. The sulfur in the fuel was actually like a biocide within the tank, because there's always, water, algae, there's things growing within the tank, so the sulfur would kill those.
Right.
But now with the ultra-low sulfur, there's not that much sulfur in the fuel, and there's a higher tendency for like a bacteria, not a bacteria, but like an algae or a bio growth within the tank.
Right.
So what needs to happen, and there's a variety of different studies with a variety of different dates, but they're looking at anywhere between 6 months to a year of having that fuel polished. Basically drawing that fuel out, cleaned, mixing it with new fuel and putting it back in the tank. So by going with a biofuel, you have a smaller amount of fuel on site, and then just smaller amount of fuel you would need to clean. So that's another aspect to the biofuel, that extended runtime, a smaller amount of on-site fuel storage. As we all know, with diesel fuel, numerous EPA requirements you need to meet. So that's a way we can try to overcome some of that.
Thanks for the tour, Mark. And for more information on standby power and other topics pertinent to facility managers, check out what's available at facilitiesnet.com.